A guy that became a Detroit institution is relocating as Jamal Williams signs a 3-year, $12 million contract with the New Orleans Saints. And I have some thoughts and got some tweets, obviously, as we always do when stuff pops off here. One of the show pillars, Alicia, sent me a tweet yesterday and said, Neil, can you please explain why the Lions couldn't or wouldn't match this? I don't understand it. And that is the 3-year for $12 million deal from the Saints for $8 million fully guaranteed. And Alicia, obviously have a lot of respect for you. You're one of the pillars of the Big D Energy sports community. This is not directed at you, the person, you personally. Here's the deal, Alicia, and my sister was shaken up as well in the same way. Here's the deal, everybody, and this hurts to hear. Brad Holmes got a better football player. There's no hidden meaning to it. There isn't why wouldn't the Lions match it, any of that. The Detroit Lions are a better football team with David Montgomery than they are with Jamal Williams. The metrics bear that out. The versatility of Montgomery's game bears that out. All the different skill set that Montgomery has bears that out. And let me tell you something else. All those 1- and 2-yard touchdowns, which constitute over half of the Jamal Williams touchdowns last year, David Montgomery's running those into everybody. He is maybe at a more efficient clip. Here it is one more time. The Detroit Lions simply just went and got a better football player. That's it. That's all. This isn't about feelings. It's about winning football.
If you're worried about if you're not familiar with David Montgomery, he runs similar to Jamal Williams as far as angry, right? He breaks tackles in the backfield. He's a guy that runs hard. He's a guy that runs at you, sort of downhill. So it is definitely an upgrade, and that's what this team has done. Especially you look through the free agency and you look through as all the dust settles. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to New York Jets now, finally. Right? You got your wish, Neil. Can't wait for that first press conference.
You know what's funny about that is the leverage goes back and forth. We'll touch on that in the second hour. We will. We'll touch on that in the second hour. We'll do as the Rodgers turns. A lot of interesting
things, but the bottom line is what you said about Brad Holmes is that improving this roster or bringing back guys that make sense in this roster, right? And we look at Buggs, you look at Kaminsky, you look at Anzalone. You know, Anzalone, we understand the why and surrounding him. So Montgomery on the front end makes better. He can pick up now as far as like he's a guy that can be every down. We don't have to count on Swift being healthy, but when Swift is healthy, you think that Ben Johnson with another year of cooking. Remember that quote that came out earlier? Oh, if last year was first year math, this is algebra and calculus now. Man, they're cooking, and then they got a Pro Bowler that they can cook with at a great price. So,
that's it. That's all.
Part of winning.
Again, it just goes back to it. There was a better option available. Does he watch anime? I don't know. Will he have like fiery speeches on Hard Knocks? No, because the Lions won't be on Hard Knocks this year. Will he cry in the postgame? I don't know. I don't care. Go score touchdowns, man, which he will, especially behind this offensive line. Can we look, everybody that's still upset about it, can we at least agree? Can we at least agree on this, that the Lions' offensive line is a top 5 unit in football? Can we agree?
Yes.
Wow, that was quick. I didn't even have to make eye contact with you. You volunteered that one. Can we agree on that, D-Mac?
Well, you know what the beauty was?
Yes.
Is they told us it was last year, and then they went out and proved it, right? They told us that we had it, that was the asset, the biggest strength on our team, and what did we go out and prove? That it was. Right? Like, that's the whole thing. It's not the smoke and mirrors of, this is what's expected, and then, boom, we fall flat because we're the Lions. No, this is what's been built around. This is what's been preached. Offensive line pushing. What did you say yesterday? We got guys that are pushing this way, and we got guys that are pushing this way. It's setting up. I mean, it's interesting, and then I can't emphasize enough. Your GM isn't even in his wheelhouse yet. That's the draft. That's where he will. So if you've given him, if you're going to grade, right? If you're going to grade Brad Holmes through free agency and what the Lions have done, you have to give him a B+, I would think, at the worst, right? Because you've improved. Now we see him cook at the draft. All this, the news coming out around it. You see the legal issues have been handled as far as Jalen Carter goes. So there's no reason that you aren't going to continue to improve this team.
IT Hips, WoodwardSports.com chat thread. 100% agree, Neil. Don't forget the way Montgomery's contract is structured as well. Dustin Mullins, I haven't seen you here before. Appreciate you jumping in to the show. Dustin says biggest difference, Montgomery can catch the football and run tough. And Dustin, don't forget too, he can block. Like, he's an above average blocker also, which, we all like that little play action game, right? We think that's going to be a little bit of the code. Maybe some deep tosses to Jameson Williams.
He's a dude. He's a dude, man. Like, he's like, you want to say, like, people who aren't familiar with him, and we mentioned this yesterday because we all have him on our fantasy team, so we know how valuable he is. But he's more like a poor man's Derrick Henry. That's a great way to put it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can drag guys and he runs hard. And then now, obviously, playing that way, durability is an issue. Right? So we'll see. But at the price that we got him with what we're doing and where we built this team, he's just another asset. Look, makes Jared Goff immediately better. Right? Better player in the backfield that can cover and play all 3 downs and have his back makes him better. It's all playing out the way that you want. And unfortunately, there's casualties, and it's some of our players that we like or have come accustomed to it and leave.
This happened to you during the path of the Red Wings, I'm sure. As you acquire talent, as you acquire big-time players, trades were made. I'm sure you didn't like every single guy that left, but the bottom line is that's how it works. You want to win, this is how it works.
Yeah, and you had to realize that, and you realized it as you went along, too. Even, it was tough. Obviously, the Paul Coffey, Keith Primo for Brendan Shanahan was exciting, but, and something to be made, but it was also, too, is losing Dino, who was a big part of, a lot of myself and Drapes and Ozzy, and as to this day, but part of our maturation that wasn't there. You look at Mike Vernon, what part he played, and then he was shipped off. Like, so guys came in, came out. You won with guys, and then they moved on. I eventually moved on and came back. So it's all part of trying to be consistent and get this win. Now, it's different when you haven't got there, right? So there's still, with all of us, with the Lions, it's still the unknown. Right, at least when you get there and you know what it takes, you can understand why the pieces are being put together.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Here's a good one too. Alex Haggerty, and I shared this sentiment yesterday. The mentality's changed with the Lions. It's always been, please come play for us. Brad Holmes is changing the team and changing the free agent dynamic as well. Rack says it was a business decision. Nothing more, nothing less. It's about business, man. It's always about business. Jason Moose says Williams would have been a solid backup. Jason, not at that money, man. Not at that money. DeAndre Swift is your backup for, $2 million? Might even be a little less than that. I can't remember off the top of my head. If we want specifics, because I'm sure somebody will, $2.7 million, my bad. So that's it, with no liability. Swift, hey, you got to go to the spokesman Rick Ross on this one about DeAndre Swift, because the time has come right now. If DeAndre Swift wants to stay, he's got to show us.
Show us.
That's it. That's still a great one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all time.
We got to get Rose on the show sometime.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
We do. You're deep in the streets, Memo. You could probably make that work.
Yeah.
I think that you can
pull some strings.
But that's where it is, man. I have zero problem with it. They just went and got a better football player. That's it. That's all. I understand that hurts. But this is part of it. You want to go do some stuff you've never done? You got to go do some stuff you've never done. And that's what the Lions are doing. You can jump into the conversation on the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. And Jason Moose says, Neil, I didn't know Swift was making $2 million. My bad. Yeah, he's on the last year of that rookie contract. So I still think you're going to see DeAndre Swift be big this year, especially in the passing game.
Well, I think he can be big too because he can be healthy. Because he doesn't have to take those hits. Giving those to Montgomery or who's the third back? Jefferson?
Yeah. Craig Reynolds.
Oh, Craig. See, we got Craig.
Yeah,
we got
Craig.
Netflix.
Come
on, Craig. No, but he runs hard, and you know what? He plays that role, blocking and everything like that. So, yeah, it's getting exciting. Because here's the bottom line, Neil. Obviously, it's and whoever said it was the fact that the Detroit Lions used to be, oh, please come play for us. Please come play for us. That's not the case now, and it's not the case that you're overpaying, right? Did he overpay at all?
It's about where it slots.
Right, about where it slots, and that's all you can ask. And you know that your guy's doing work. So I can't emphasize enough. He just set himself up even more for the draft.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. J. Will Fan says Neil Bradholmes and Dan Campbell are making Big D moves. Yeah, they are. Isn't this what we asked for? For real. Weren't we tired of spinning the wheels all the time? I know I was. All I wanted was somebody that could come in here and, draft a good player. It's a wild request, I know. But finally they got that. And then above that, I wanted somebody that was going to come in here and make moves, do stuff. He did it. For all the goodwill amongst men at the close of that Lions season, second half of Lions season, people were hyped, man. Now the hole was too big to dig out of. There is nothing to suggest that you should be down in any way on where you were when they walked off the field in Green Bay.
And you're
right?
not. And you're not.
Right.
Your team's better.